want to say hello to my viewers and all my associates out there, my comrades. And why don't I just put it in a negative note so I can tell you what's going on. I got a nasty comment from some people connected with We Are Change, and these people are in Wichita, Kansas. So, you know, if you're watching, I really don't know what you have against me. You weren't clear, so I can only give you like 30 seconds of my time, but you know, it's just too bad because you claim to be against fluoride and poisons in our beautiful home planet here, but for some reason you don't want to get together with me and think that, you know, I'm fighting against all these things. So, alright, so moving on from the negative, let's talk about the positive. People are waking up. I'm seeing a lot more videos about the Fukushima awareness, and you know, I have a question as to whether this is the greatest problem that we're facing. Could I be wrong in putting so much effort and focus on it? Are there other things? Can we lose our focus and bring it to something else, or bring it to multiple concerns? I just, in my research and my determination, that I've determined what I think is the worst problem, and I really feel like the information coming out of Fukushima, if it can be verified, and I think a lot of it is verifiable, that is the greatest, the worst, the biggest problem that's ever been confronting humans, civilization, the planet. Because even if you think about natural events like volcanoes or earthquakes, or you know, if something extraterrestrial came and collided with the planet, you know, these things are not really predictable as far as our science of astronomy. So that they just occur when they're going to occur. You know, maybe there's some reason for it, that, you know, we have to be destroyed or something, and we certainly can't control that. I mean, we can barely control what's on the surface. So I just wanted to say that those things are not worth worrying about it, because we didn't cause it and we can't control it. So when it comes to the nuclear devastation we're causing, the nuclear pollution, the nuclear contamination, it's all those negative words, all those processes that are happening. It's immeasurable. Like I can't even wrap my head around it to this day, that being a person that's just facing it as a problem, like not trying to cover it up, but also really, like, firmly trying to keep it in perspective as I'm explaining. I don't want us to get out of control, and just because I found that you can lose your mind that way. You can literally go off the deep end with all the information when you try to make it tangible. Like, look, in 1983, I believe it was, they released the movie The Day After, and it had some famous actors in it, Jason Robards. If you need to look it up, you know, the title's good enough. I think that it was the only one called that. And I just reflected on that recently. It's about a nuclear attack. So this war happened in the Soviet Union and the United States, and it never says who started it or anything, but it's just a mutual destruction occurrence. You know, like once these things are detonated and the nuclear destruction, the radiation goes everywhere, and it just shows everybody struggling to understand it, struggling to survive, then getting sick and trying to survive the sickness. Not just trying to survive by eating, but surviving a sickness that's making them fall apart, literally. And by the end, it's totally sad. There's no hope whatsoever. So this is a very powerful movie to wake us up. And I think that so far we haven't, as a human race, we haven't gone against that except by the passive. There's no aggressive attack. Well, I want to say there is evidence that they're attacking in some places, but this video is not about that. That's a big other video, but there's like a passive attack on us, on the human race. It's just passively leakage and some meltdowns. There's been 3 major, famous, well-known nuclear accidents, although there are some accidents like where the U.S. is always talking about the Soviet subs. I believe there was more than one, but there's one in particular that I remember following the reports on it, and it went down, I think, somewhere off the coast of Scandinavia, like in the North Sea, and these are armed with nuclear weapons, so that they didn't detonate apparently, but now I can't forget to mention all the nuclear testing, and especially it's not just your top nuclear powers, it's also France, and I think the UK has evolved too, but France is really big time, and if you notice that France has so many nuclear weapons, and they're like the biggest pro-nuclear power, nuclear electric power in Europe. They've tested so much out in their properties, their colonial properties in the Pacific, how many people they've polluted, how many, sections of the earth. Well, you think that the ocean's so big. Actually, it's not. Ocean cruise liners dump their garbage. It's a crime. Nuclear bombs that they're testing, to get their jollies. They like to sit there. These freaking warmongers they like to see big explosions. You know what? You know what I like to see? You know how I get my jollies? I like to take these people and just like blow them up. That's what I like to do. Okay, just when I'm talking to you, when I get to sit down and be diplomatic, remember in the back of your mind that I said that, and I'm not playing games here. I'm saying that these people are a major problem that are doing this. But let's talk about the science of it. Let's not point any fingers here. Let's talk about the overall science. Einstein is known to be a very thoughtful man. He did a lot of thought experiments with science, and then he had a lot of spiritual thoughts. And we go back to spirituality, because that's all I'm doing here for you, folks. We need to go to the spiritual first before we understand the physical. And he said, as they used his formulas, E=mc² and this and that about the atom, and they developed it into a technology of splitting the atom. But he ultimately said that, the nuclear fission, the using the uranium and using that to produce electricity is just a really crazy way to boil water, because that's essentially all it's doing. They're creating an enormous amount of heat from these nuclear reactions in the reactor core of the facility, and what they do is they harness it. It's like steam, like a steam engine, and then they channel it into spinning the turbine. So it must be like this really heavy-duty turbine. I've never actually seen one, but it goes through there and it spins it and spins it, and the spinning turns a generator, and then that is going to produce the electricity that they channel it out through the wires, and it goes through the grid. So what we're talking about is, folks, here I am using electricity. I use my AC minimally. I don't keep any appliances on if I don't have to, um, because I'm very mindful of the fact that we're all part of the problem. See, if we could use electricity and that it was generated by like clean sources. And I don't want to use the word green because I think that green is just another scam. I don't even need to call it green. I'm just going to say like sources that are localized, sources that are efficient, sources that are not put together by evil people trying to make money. If we just go locally based and everyone there gets educated and you have a place to develop the electricity and it only goes to certain areas, I believe that the way we need to live, we need to convert everybody over, and that's why I'm tribal. And some people are very high tech and they can't get unattached from the electric boob. I'm not insulting women. I don't know how else to look at it, because these people are like children that haven't matured in their mind and their wisdom. But the real boob that we need to nurse from is the Mother Earth. It's the nature. We are still children of the earth. And if you want to look at the father and the mother, like we were put here to be like tribe attached to the earth. Like I really believe this, and I really want to tell everybody. If you don't agree with me, maybe you haven't seen like my true statements. Maybe you see my real stupid, sarcastic, or satirical videos. But when, like here, I'm just trying to explain to you the best way I can that we need to have a balance. The reason why these evil people with their machines and this stuff is going out of control, it's not because I can't be smart enough to use the thing. I pump out a lot of technology. I have websites. I do this. I'm maybe low resolution on some things, but I tinker around with the technology. Okay, it's not like I'm completely giving it up, but I'm trying to find a balance, because as soon as the evil forces think that they have us like completely in their grips, they're just going to keep selling it and selling it and selling it, because they have us captive. We're slaves to it. And we cannot be slaves to it, because that's what's going on. And you see these really mindless people going around with their guns and their weapons and their supposed authority, but they have no connection with nature. This is a natural body. And I would assume that all true humans have the natural body. We can never change this, and we should never change it. We're based in the nature. Technology is an option. Technology shouldn't rule us and make us forget our nature. I'm almost done. You gotta go to chicken look down here. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I'm in the middle of something. And I'm sorry about the interruption, but I've got a lot of people waiting on me. I want to bring everybody together into a different system, and it has to start small. So I have a tribe. I consider you all part of my tribe, my spiritual tribe. I think that we're all scattered amongst the other people. Be careful who you trust. Be careful who you listen to, because some people claim to offer solutions, and we've got to do protest, and we've got to do democracy, and we've got to do this technology. Some people write to me, thorium is the way. Thorium is not the way. They talk about this to convert over the nuclear power plants, and thorium is not the way. So people claim to have all this stuff, but if they don't talk like I've just talked to you, if they don't explain it this way as like the general thing, about having a balance between the nature and using technology some of the time, then I can't see promoting it. I can't put this out to the world, to you folks. I just can't do that. I can't do that. I can't. And here's my pants. See my pants? You see my pants? That's the reality check, folks. That's the reality check. And I don't know why I'm ending it like this. I'm just so... This Fukushima thing really seems like it's going worse and worse and worse. But I have lingering doubts as to maybe they're just trying to cause a panic. Maybe it's some way to make Japan look bad. Um, I want to warn everybody that the radiation that is coming to us now, that's getting released into the world, may be from other sources. Okay? Stay smart on this. Be very careful, because if radiation is detected and you find it in your food, you find it when you do a hair test, do not presume that it's Fukushima based or originating. It could be now other forces like US, Russian, they could be allowing leakage to just be under the cover of blame it on Fukushima, blame it on Fukushima, blame it on Fukushima. This will be another high crime that you can add onto the list. This will be another reason that I will seek justice by death penalty. You try to wrap your head around this stuff. There is evil rampant in the world. And I pray for all of you. Even We Are Change, I have no clue as to why they're against me. Maybe because I talked about Adam Kokesh or whatever. But I'm very careful about who I'm going to see as any of your leaders. And I don't see Adam Kokesh as... He's on drugs. He's smoking drugs all the time. That's just one problem. Alright, folks, I look forward to your comments, and I send you love, because we're going to need it right now. As much information as I feed you, and intellectual, and trying to understand this with thoughts, and it really comes down to love. And love is not even a word. It's a powerful energy that comes from the Spirit. And those of you out there, you know that. You know that. If you've gotten to the end of this video where I just have to go on and on and on because it's so overwhelming and trying to explain it, and you get to the end, well, there's your reward. I gave you really the deepest truth overall. And when it comes down to it, that's the only thing that I can really give you and share and remind you with the video. Okay? Be careful who you trust and make sure that there's love involved. That's the only way we're going to get through this.